Welcome, welcome, 1,000 welcomes. You hear that echo? That is because... Oh, the echo's gone. I was going to come up with a great excuse for it. I am Joe. This is Jessica. Welcome to that hashtag show's Dating for the Geek World Quest for Player 2. Welcome. How are you? You were here last week. How'd it go?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I love the show. So yeah, let's get into it. This is a good topic too. I'm really excited about this topic.
Well, we're not going to just jump into it. We got to see how your week has been.
My week is good. So far, so good. Work, life.
What does that mean? Elaborate, if you will.
Okay, fine. I just cooked turkey bacon for the first time in the oven today. That's something new.
Jessica, what are you doing with your life?
Bacon is better.
You know
in
what,
the
though?
oven.
You did introduce me to this wine.
That wine is so good.
And they're not a sponsor, but it is kind of crazy. So this is like... Can you explain some of the backstory on this thing?
Yeah, so 19 Crimes is a really good wine. It's pretty cheap, too. You can get it at Ralph's for like $10 or Trader Joe's for $9. But it's basically, in Australia, they used to, when somebody would commit a crime, instead of like punishing them to death, they would put them, I think, in the British colony somewhere.
In a winery?
In Britain, they would commit the crimes, instead of going to death, they would isolate them to Australia. I think that's it. So as punishment, they'd go to Australia. Long story short, every wine bottle has an actual mugshot of a criminal back in the 1800s.
And this is The Banished.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Look at this poor bastard.
But if you guys get the app is really cool because then you put it over the wine bottle and it actually talks.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
So it's a 19 Crimes app.
All right, so I just got back from Texas, Austin.
Your week was way better. Okay.
Well, you wouldn't know that. I was just only there for a weekend.
True.
Austin, Texas was a lot of fun. It's a great city. There's a lot of great food, a lot of great people. It's
very artsy, right?
Very artsy, very liberal, great music scene.
Yep.
I liked it. I liked Texas a lot, but it was crazy because it was college football day.
Oh.
And it was in Texas, and it was the University of Texas, like legit
Rowdy.
University of Texas. It was nuts.
Did you have fun?
I didn't really get a chance to really enjoy and partake in all that, but I had a good time at the bar. I met these two two ladies. They were like giving me shit because I was wearing a 49ers hat, and obviously
That's
it was
called
in
flirting.
Texas. No, they were older.
That's called flirting.
They were cougar older, but they were nice. They're nice ladies. Mm-hmm. They tried to convince me that Texas was the greatest thing on planet Earth, and there ain't no talking this Canadian out of this Cali boy out of saying that. So there's
Canadian.
that. I'm Canadian, all 100%. So Jess, this is a subject that is near and dear to your heart. I don't know why I just said that.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna pretend like it is.
Dang.
I'm gonna pretend like it is. Rejection is not always a bad thing.
It's not.
So I do have we got to go over some like personal stories here.
Yeah.
So if we were talking personal stories, give me let's role play. Pretend young Jessica Heidenreich going back in the days when she was still in the dating scene or whatever it may have been.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about a time you got rejected.
Okay. Well, it happened a few times in high school. I liked a few people that like really didn't reciprocate it, or they just wanted to like do physical stuff, but then they didn't want to date me. So that was a bummer. But then when I moved to LA, I went on a date one time. True story. And we had a really good date. It was like a traditional date. Like we went out to dinner, he paid, and then we like walked back. I went to his house. He showed me around his apartment, and it was really fun. I thought it was a great date. And then I got ghosted.
You got ghosted?
And that was my form of rejection. Just straight ghosted. And then that same guy that I did not speak to after then texted me 2 years later about some party that they were having at a bar that they were whatever. Long story short, I got rejected. I got ghosted.
Okay, let me ask you this though. How was that a good thing though? In the long run?
It was a good thing because number one, getting rejected is good. For me, it was good because it taught me a lot of self-worth. I put everybody else. I gave everybody else the power. So like I would give these men the power to make me feel a certain way, and then by getting rid of all that and getting rejected a bunch, and then you realize that you don't really need it, but it's an added bonus if you find somebody great. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Like being single is okay, and I like being self-assured and being confident on my own. That's what I learned from being rejected, where I was relying on everybody else. But then when I didn't have anybody, I was the only one that could pump myself up and make myself confident. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question, though. When's the last time you were actually single? Like, actually single? And was it for a long period of time?
I would say because I met Jordan like really close after my ex. I would say 2013.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
You haven't had that single life in quite a while.
Correct. Yeah. I had it like the first few years when I moved to LA, and that was my little crazy dating time, and then I settled down.
What's the worst part about rejection, do you think?
The illusion that you are not enough.
And it's just an illusion.
Yes, 100%.
What is and obviously you were talking about some discovering self-worth. So I think everybody goes through rejection in their life, not just in relationships, but just in general.
I was thinking that too.
I think that...
jobs, school, friend groups.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Nobody likes feeling rejected, though.
No, it's the worst feeling ever.
But I think that when it comes to relationships, it's a little bit of a harder pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you're so invested in. Not saying you're not as invested in something else, but so here's the deal. So I've been rejected before too, but it was more so. I think I was reading the signs wrong, or the signs were
misconstrued.
Yeah. Or it could have been a very different thing. So there was a girl that I was hanging out with a lot, right?
Okay.
And I also think that, and this is gonna be interesting. So there was somebody I was hanging out with a lot, and we were like going to movies, doing a lot of fun things.
Sure. Dating. You guys were dating.
Yeah. But we weren't necessarily like. I hate the labels stuff. Okay. But we were hanging out a lot, and like I went to like make a move, and then it like got shut down. But then
wait, she give you the cheek or the forehead? No. What?
She just said I'm not ready for that, and I was like, that's fine.
She did one of these?
No. She just said she wasn't ready. But then she called me the next day and was like, I want to pursue something, but and I was like, no, I'm good. Like it like totally deterred me from it. And little did I know at the time though, it was mainly she was really hanging out with me because of my job though. Because I had such a
so then you dodged a bullet.
Exactly.
How did you know that though? Did she tell you?
Somebody else told me that. So I don't know if that was actually true, but I'm 90% sure it was.
Okay.
Because I know this person. So the cool thing about it is that this is exactly why I said that it's not always a bad thing. Because sometimes you kind of you understand somebody's attentions a little bit better once you don't have. It's almost like beer goggles, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with the term beer goggles, can we get an Urban Dictionary? Put up beer goggles on the screen. If you're not familiar with beer goggles. With that, it's just a term that is used to say that you're not thinking in your clear head. It's the alcohol talking. That used to happen to me a lot.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah? We should go over a story about that. Let's talk about that one.
That's for a different day.
The next episode is going to be beer
making mistakes. Making mistakes when you're single. That's what we should do it on.
Episode 3, making mistakes when you're single. But this one, all right, so when you see that kind of like rejection, I think you're in the haze and in the depression of it, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
But once you get out of that depression and haze of it, it's kind of like, well, why was I into, like, what did I give a shit for?
Well, hindsight's always 20/20. I mean, it's the same thing with any mistake or with, not a mistake, but any experience that you have. In the moment, you're like traumatized. You're like, this is the worst thing ever. Whether you're getting broken up with or you go to somebody at the bar and they reject you, it's a really horrible feeling. And I remember, like, even my second relationship, I got broken up with, and I was just losing my mind.
About breakups too.
I was losing my mind, and I was just weeping and crying and like, whatever. I went to this whole tailspin. But then now looking back, it's like that wasn't the right relationship for me anyway. So why? You know what I mean? It's always better. It's
a lot
always
of people are in the chat. They understand. They're right there with us with the beer goggles. Jezzer.
Oh yeah.
Larry. Guys in the chat, thank you guys for joining us, and share this video out to whatever you want to share it to. We are here not as experts, but we are here to just give you life experience from the geek perspective and to carry on over through your everyday life. But we also want to interact with you guys in the chat. So put your chats in there, and if you so inclined to feel the super chat coming on, that helps support the show, but it also keeps your chat up there longer so we can read it. But we're also doing live calls tonight, as we are from this point forward on this show. We're going to be taking your advice and be giving. I'm sure you guys have maybe advice for us that we can kind of analyze as well. And we have videos about that later on too. Just to give you, that's what a rundown is called.
Ooh.
that we send people.
Nice.
So we got to talk about some of this rejection stuff because I think people really like our personal stories because we're not afraid to clam up and we're going to put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
And I do have to ask you. So we were on the topic of a rejection. Now,
yep.
Have you ever been in a relationship that wasn't quite working out, and you were the one that got dumped, because that is also a form of rejection.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. My second relationship was I was getting dumped. But here's the thing with that, too. It's like you also kind of know in your gut when something's going to go south or not. At least I've kind of been able to navigate that. But when your feelings are so strong, you don't really care about the outcome. You just want to keep feeling that good feeling of love or like or whatever. So, yeah, I was heartbroken when I got broken up with my second relationship. My third one, it was kind of mutual, more me finally cutting it off. But, yeah, it's always, in the end, I feel like you always know. Like, in the end, isn't it a bit of a relief when you get broken up with or rejected, and then you look back and you're like, thank God?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I can clearly think of two specific relationships where, one I broke up with the person, and I couldn't understand why I was even in the relationship to begin with, which we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And the other, look at that, we already got a super chat. Oh, fuck, I forgot to bring that shirt for you. God damn it.
All right, Larry, I'll grab it next time. It's okay.
You just got to remind me.
Too.
Socks, I do have the socks. Or no, Josh has the socks, I think. Daniel Nagami has the socks then.
Someone has the socks.
Somebody has the socks.
I'm going to rock them next week.
Anyway, we were talking about, the other relationship I did get broken up with, but it was tumultuous just to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you can see things going south very easily.
That's what I mean. You have that feeling.
Yeah.
But you don't want to break up right away because it feels good in the moment, right?
I already said I hate breaking up with people, so I make people break up with me.
Joe.
I already said it. It's okay.
I know, but I'm just reprocessing that statement.
Why is that bad?
Because then you're living a lie the entire time you're in a relationship.
No, it's just I don't want to be a bad guy.
Yeah, but you also don't want to be in the relationship. Oh, and that's the other thing I was going to say. When you get broken up with, I feel like a lot of people play this back. Okay, by a lot of people, I mean me. You play this back and forth of like, break up, get back together. Break up, get back together.
Oh, yeah, that was me in my longest relationship.
That was my dance in a few relationships. And it's just this whole thing of like back and forth because you don't want to go through the process of pain and getting rid of them because it feels like a loss. When you break up with somebody, it does. It feels like a loss. We'll talk about that another day. But I don't know where I was going with that. But the point is, it sucks and it hurts, but it happens.
So the back and forth, that's another great part of relationship advice, I would say. Are you a firm believer that if it doesn't work out the first time, then it's just not going to work out?
Yes. I think that's the point I was trying to make when I went on that tangent was, yeah, when you go back and forth that much, obviously it's not working out. There's something there that's a block where one of you doesn't want to be it.
But
so please don't be with me for pity. What?
I feel that sometimes people are drama, and they do things as an outcry to make you seem like you just to care.
I don't think so,
dude. I used to get in arguments with my ex-girlfriend all the time, and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't want." Then let's break up, and I'd be like, "All right," and then she'd be like, "Oh, you're not even gonna fight." It's like, what are you doing? Like, if you want to bring it, just say it.
Okay, let me tell you what that is. It's not wanting drama. What she's saying is...
She wants attention.
I want you to... No, she's saying, I don't feel like you are fighting for me in this relationship. I feel like I'm a piece of furniture, and I just want to know that I'm the girl that you want. That's what she was trying to say. But
Jessica,
we put it in different forms.
Not everything
we play
needs
mind
to be a
tricks.
Fight. Isn't that the whole point of dating? Not everything needs to be a fight.
I know, but if she's frustrated, that's the way it comes out as a fight.
You know what the worst thing I ever said to my ex-girlfriend? And I'm going to bring her on this show one day.
Oh, yeah, you should.
She lives up the street, too.
Call her right now.
Call her right now?
Guys, vote and see if Joe should call his ex-girlfriend right now.
I'm going to call her. I'll bring her on the show for sure.
Okay, cool.
We're still really good friends right now. But this was kind of... So she was going on a tirade like about how I was a bad boyfriend, blah, 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 just going and chirping. And I just said... I just looked at her and I said, "You're not a good person." And then I left. And then she flipped out.
That's worse than calling... Yeah. Because that's like, ooh, that cuts deep.
The other thing too that I would do to get people really upset, and I'm sure that you know, I'm very short on text, man. Like we text, but we don't have like long. So
yeah, you're not a text guy.
Yeah. So when people like when girls would text me, they'd get, you know, people getting arguments, they text you,
yeah,
right?
and you're like, just call me.
I just write K.
Ladies and gentlemen, the K is the worst text you can ever receive. It is. K is just so you all know, is associated with the shortest, most apathetic text you could possibly send me. Even when my parents, who don't know the whole thing about texting, send K, I'm still like, like.
So this is a great word of advice from you to me. Don't just say K.
No.
But then you don't want to get into like a huge argument and a huge response. What's the best way to handle that situation?
When somebody sends you K?
So, yeah. Like, no. Let's say it was a text argument. You sent
Right.
me a long paragraph. What should be the proper response?
The proper response should be, can I call you? Can we talk about this in person? Because text tone, the tone gets, misconstrued. You don't know what the other person really means. Spelling errors, I've been a victim of that. So it's just easier if you just call, because then at least you can hear each other's voice and you can talk it out and there's back and forth. But otherwise, you guys are, I remember being, stewed. Like, I was stewing over my text messages. I was so upset when if I called him, it would have been a 10-minute conversation and the fight probably would have been over. But otherwise, it went on for 24 hours because we were texting. So if you're in a text fight, just call. It's so much easier. That's what I would say.
Sometimes you don't have time. You're an on-the-go person. You're a busy person in life. Where do you find the time?
Okay, then here's what you say. Listen, I am busy right now. I do want to continue this conversation. Can we please talk later? I'll be home at this time.
Yeah, that's
And you have that time to text because everybody goes to the bathroom during the day, so that means you have enough time to send a text. You can send that.
But if guys stand up peeing, it's not like I'm gonna hold my phone in one hand texting, and it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna do that.
Number two, you're not standing during number two.
Who goes number two in public all the time? Jess, what restaurant do you work at?
Listen, all I'm saying is you have the time. If you have time to eat, if you have time to go to the bathroom, you have time to send a text message.
We're getting off subject here. All right, so
yeah.
Rejection not being a bad thing. So did we talk about the breakup rejection yet?
Yeah, I told mine, but you didn't tell me your rejection stories, I don't think.
Breakup. Oh, okay. Well, there's definitely, this was the easy one. So there was a girl I was seeing for like 2 years.
Is this the worst rejection you've ever faced? Because that's really what I want to know.
No. Oh, man, there's a really dark story. I'm going to tell it anyway. So there was a girl.
Tell both.
This wasn't necessarily, this is going to paint me in a really bad picture, but I didn't know at the time.
Nobody judges you here.
Well, they all judge me. It doesn't
matter.
This
is a safe place.
Great. This is what the show's all about. So there was this time where I was a casting coordinator on a show.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
And I ended up getting involved with one of the contestants on the show. And we ended up like hanging out and hooking up and whatever, right? Because she was from New York and I was from LA.
Okay.
And we ended up just like hooking up, and we were thinking of pursuing something. We knew it'd be difficult being on two different coasts. Then I found out she was married. True story.
Oh no.
Yeah, found out she was married, and at that point, it wasn't necessarily rejection. It was kind of rejection, but it was like, yeah, I knew her that I would do the same thing.
No, that's 100% rejection. You got lied to.
But then I felt terrible, mainly because it's like I didn't want to come in between a marriage.
But you didn't know. Was she wearing a ring? Did she?
No.
You had no
clue.
Oh, well then how are you supposed to know?
No clue. Right. I wasn't. I obviously wasn't. So I was even planning. Literally bought a plane ticket to go to New York.
Joe.
Was like a week away from going. And then she was like, you know what, maybe you shouldn't come. And I was like, why? And it's like, well, I'm actually married. And I was like, what? And then my biggest
She told you after you bought the ticket?
Yeah, and
that
then
is rude.
And then I was like, my first thought wasn't necessarily, man, it sucks that you're married. It was like, you know how much I just spent on this plane ticket?
That was my first thought too, was like, plane tickets are not cheap. I'm sorry, this is not an Uber.
I did not tell her husband because I didn't want to be
No, you don't want to get involved. That's her mess.
It was pretty bad.
I don't condone that, by the way. I'm just saying, like, when you are none the wiser and you do not know what's going on, you don't know if somebody is married or in a relationship, it's best to just walk away.
And I will say, no, I'm not going to say, but she's semi-famous in New York. I'll say that.
Oh, but she was a contestant on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Did she blow up after she was a contestant?
Kinda. Or like around the time. But
okay.
So there was that.
Okay.
And then the other time I got rejected was when I was in a relationship. But this was probably for the best, and this was the very situation where I was just waiting for the relationship to end.
Oh god.
So I kind of wanted it to happen. And this situation, I think that like, so we had mutual friends at the time, and the mutual friends said that I said something which I didn't. And he told her that I said something that I was going to get back my ex-girlfriend or something like that.
Oh.
So she got really upset. And then she was like, I can't believe you did this. And then I knew it wasn't true, but I was just like, okay, cool. I guess this is over. And that was it. So I was just like, all right, cool. And
so technically you did break up because you said this is over.
She said this was over, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I saw her not too long ago, like Trader Joe's, like in El Segundo, and she was cool. It was fine, but
and
like,
you guys are friends now.
We're not friends. We don't like text or talk, but we'll like if we see each other, we're fine.
Okay. I don't have that same relationship.
But yeah, it was weird, and I remember that too because Daniel was hanging out with me a lot during that time. That era of my life.
Was this 20s?
Oh yeah.
Give us some context.
That era,
early 20s, mid 20s.
That
late
was like
20s.
mid 20s. That era of my life, I was wild.
Right?
That was crazy.
I could see that. Well, yeah.
I was drinking. I was
Because I met you the tail end of your 20s.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe you were. How old are you?
No, I was. You met me in the like tail end of my 20s.
Okay.
Like very end. But even then, I was still settling, like slowing down just a little.
Sure.
But during that era, man, where I live in the beach, it's all these bars, right? And that's all you do is you hang out and drink and you meet people, and that's all I did for I remember for like 2 summers straight. Daniel Nagami actually knew me at that time, and that was when I was wild. That was crazy. Like
wow.
we would play this game here, and I'd come in with cases of beer, just like drink, and then go out, and it was crazy.
Oh my!
I lived a wild life.
Clearly.
Back in the day.
I'm surprised you didn't move out of that beach.
Oh,
town.
another rejection story too is I like how it's always Robert Downey Jr. for me. I don't understand why it's always Robert Downey Jr.
You're like, let me get the rejection list.
Is that Florida girl, which you kind of were around for?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, I remember that.
And that was a tough one because we were very good friends. Mm-hmm. And it was very complicated.
It was it was muddied a little bit.
Yeah. So those were. You got any more rejection stories?
A lot of it was always like, hey, I really like this person. I would give them the eyes. I would flirt, and they wouldn't reciprocate. So it was a lot of that where I wasn't really emotionally invested yet. I'll have more stories when it comes to breakups, but in terms of rejection, those were the big ones. Getting ghosted, or being desperate, and because there was a period in my life where I would say I definitely was.
You were desperate?
Yeah, like I was really lonely out here. I had no real sense of self. It was the first time I was away from everybody that I knew. I was starting fresh. And so when you're that young, when you're 21 years old, you're still figuring it out. At least I was. I was still trying to figure out what was going on. I had no self-worth.
Is that right around the time I met you?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that was tough because then I would meet guys and I would think they're interested in me based on the actions, and then they would continuously say, I don't want a relationship with you, I don't want to date you, but we can still have fun. And it was just like, and it was my fault for continuing to do that. So it was rejection, but it was my own fault. I wasn't listening to what they were telling me.
So let me ask you a question.
But it still sucked.
I'm sure it did. With when all that was happening, what was how did you feel? It sucked, obviously, but
it did. No, it sucked. It totally sucked. But because of all of that, I mean, listen, the whole point of making mistakes and going through crap or trauma or whatever you want to call it, not trauma, but crap, just things that life throws at you, the whole point is just to learn from it, right? So with every mistake I made, I learned from it. If I woke up and I did something I didn't like, I would listen to that feeling. Okay, I don't like that. I don't like the way I'm acting. When you're in alignment with yourself, exactly, it's right and wrong. So yeah, it did suck. And then from that though, I really gained a really good perspective of who I was. I got my self-worth back, and then I kind of matured and then settled down a bit.
So we did talk earlier about how rejection helps. Give people more kind of advice on that stuff.
I think rejection helps. This is a tough one.
Because I think personally, rejection, I always view it like this. It's almost like criticism, right? I'm the biggest fan of criticism, and because I think I'm the hardest person on myself. Mm-hmm. Like anybody else really could be harder on me.
Yeah.
But I like criticism because if you're a person that can't handle it, you're never going to get better at it.
Right.
If you're a person that can handle it and actually make positive contributions to change it, then you're going to obviously be better for it. But I look at life in that very similar situation. Like I always kind of look, you're not going to have a win every day of your life. It's just not going to happen.
True.
You're going to face rejection. It's going to happen. But knowing that it's going to happen isn't the fault. It's that if you get rejected and you can't rebound from it, then you failed.
But I also think there's two types of people in the world. I think there's your type that is that way, where likes criticism, bounces back really quickly. You're really hard to get down. That's just kind of who you are.
What does that mean?
You're a bounce back kind of guy. You let things roll. You're very logical. You let it roll off your back, or at least you appear to. Where people like me, who are maybe a little bit more sensitive, emotional, that really does take a toll, and it's hard to bounce back from that because all you do is internalize it because you are hard on yourself. We all are. So then when that happens, I feel like the rejection just amplifies it. But you're right. So yeah, I guess my advice would be back to what I said earlier, it's not, rejection is an illusion that you're not enough.
Let's go to the process of grieving for rejection, though. So if you get rejected, what's your process? How do you kind of like analyze it, and how do you kind of pick it apart?
Yeah.
Because I think
I'll
everybody
talk
has
to
their own
myself in the
process.
mirror if I'm processing
Really?
feelings. I really will. I will be like, I feel this way. I was wrong because of this, but I was right because of that, and I will learn from it, do better next time. You know what I mean? But when it comes to rejection, I would say walk away instead of being like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'm so dumb. Oh, my God. Like, look at my shirt. Ugh. Instead of picking yourself apart, just be like, wow, I really had balls to go up and do that. Or I really put myself out there. Like, give yourself a little, like, pep talk, because it is hard to put yourself out there. It is hard to, that initial conversation or even a DM, you're putting yourself out there, and that other person has to say yes or no. So just, if you are rejected, that was the first thing I would do, is just give yourself a little, like, at least I tried. On to the next.
Stephanie Storm, who's a alumni here at Hashtag Show, says it helps, rejection helps you be a better person. It's also a stepping stone to a better situation.
100%.
That
is a great way to explain what we were trying to say.
It is.
It
is a stepping stone to a great situation.
Because like, I'm in a good relationship now. In order to get to that place, I had to go through all these other steps. And those steps, like Stephanie said, sometimes they are just stepping stones and they suck and you have to go through it, but it always leads you to something better.
For me, I handle rejection the best is in my car by myself, and I just drive. Because I feel like there's no better self-reflection
yes.
than it's just you alone on a road. And what I would do to clear my head, and I do this to this day, is I will drive on a freeway, get off on a random exit, and try to find my way back home by taking the streets. The reason I do that...
Oh, that's interesting.
It's two reasons. It gets my mind clear off of whatever thing I'm going through, and it makes me concentrate on something else.
Oh.
But it also, if I do know where I'm going, it makes me self-reflect on a situation, so that way I don't get involved in the same situation again. Because...
That's really interesting.
Isn't that the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results?
Yes.
I am not that guy. I will never do stuff over and over to get the same results. So...
do you ever get lost, or is that not the point? You don't care?
Yeah. Well, I always know that, like, if you have a phone or a smartphone, you're going to be fine.
Right.
But
I mean, like, is that the point?
The point is to get lost.
Yeah, to be lost and just
because that way it makes you figure out things. And I don't think you're never more in tune with yourself until you're in a situation that's like, wow, I have no idea where I'm at. Because it makes you really reflect on where you are and what you're doing. Yeah,
that's very true. Do you cry?
I'm not a crier, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Ugh, I bawl.
Really?
Ugh, over everything. Yeah.
I
feel so many feelings. I really do.
Most
like, my
people
feelings
would
are
tell
very
you-
intense.
Most people would tell you that I am a sociopath. No, I'm just kidding.
I would agree.
Most people will tell you that I'm just not a very emotional person by nature, I don't think. I cry when, like, people die.
Okay, rightfully so.
But, like, relationship stuff, I don't really cry over that stuff.
But that is still a loss.
It is, but it's a permanent loss. Whereas sometimes when I get broken up with or whatever it may be, I don't look at that as a loss. Sometimes I look at that as a win.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, which is just one big red flag that you were in the wrong relationship, but
which
makes sense.
Have you, that's interesting though. It is interesting. I am going to bring my ex-girlfriend on this show.
I would love to meet her.
I'm going to play a fun little game.
Interesting.
But, I think that with rejection always comes, I think it seems like a piece of you gets lost with rejection in any kind of situation like that. But I think that there's so much more to be gained from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like working out a muscle. It's
100%,
making it stronger.
It hurts in the moment, but then it gets, with every time you do it, it does get stronger.
Do you ever get depressed with rejection?
Yeah.
Really?
Again, this is more towards breakups, which is still a form of rejection in my eyes. But, 100%. Not like I can't get out of bed and go to work. Actually, work does help because it gets my mind off things, and I have no other choice but to just be in the moment and present because I'm working. But, it's really sad because to me it does feel like a loss. Even if I have the thought of, well, maybe we'll get back together, maybe. It still sucks because they're not in your life. They were the one person you called every day, talked to, spoke to, hung out with. They knew all the intimacies of your life. And it's like that song, Somebody That I Used to Know. Remember that song that was really big? Oh, I love that song. But it's the same type of thing.
Like, cut me off. That song?
Yes, it's so sad. But it's the truth. It's like everybody, you just get so wrapped up in each other's world, and then it's just you're done. And then you never speak to each other again. You don't see each other.
Hey, what
social
kind of?
media.
So let me ask you a question about that, because I know this isn't about breakups. We'll get to that in another episode. But are you the kind of person that stays friends with your exes?
I've tried. I would like to, because I'm one of those people who don't like to have weirdness with anybody. I think that's more of my ego, but I've tried. It's worked for one of them for a while. I'm civil with my second boyfriend for sure. He used to be my best friend. We dated, and then it didn't go well, and we broke up. And now it's kind of weird, but like he's getting married, and I called him, and he called me when I got engaged. So we're civil, and because we have such a history. But the other two, not anymore now.
I'm curious about something now, because me and my ex-girlfriend, like, it didn't end the best, but then we ended up becoming friends, like, because it was a really bad breakup.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. How do you recover from that? All my other exes.
Well, I still do think she holds it against me, 100%, 100%.
That's why it's hard to be friends, though. And somebody once said, if you're still friends with your exes, you're not done. It's not over. Which I don't necessarily agree with, but it is hard. Once you muddy the water, it is really hard to go back. You know what I mean? Once you cross that line.
But I also think I'm different. Not different, but the way that I kind of am is that, all right, when somebody's like cut off from me, they're just done. I'm just done.
That's how Jordan is.
I'm very much like,
turns off.
Yeah. I can easily turn that part of me off.
I don't know if that's a female thing. I don't want to generalize, but it's a Jessica thing where it'll just linger and process and feel it and linger, and then a song will make me think of it, or a movie, or driving past their house like a crazy person, you know?
What?
Nothing.
Wait, what? You would drive
driving
past people? What?
Well, listen, Jordan and I broke up for 5 days.
Chat me up about you being a stalker.
I'm not a stalker. I live in Los Angeles. I have 2 exes here. I'm bound to cross one of their streets. But the point is, actually, no, I don't have 2 exes. Jordan was the one that I was saying that we broke up for 5 days. And it was the worst 5 days of my life. I just needed it to clear my head. And I realized a lot of things. But in those 5 days, I drove past his house just to see if he was home, and I was like, wow, he took the day off of work, and I was like, dang.
That's stalkerish.
It was dark, I know, but then we got back together, and now we're getting married. It's fine.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
We didn't break up because it wasn't working, by the way, because I realized I just was a hypocrite.
Did you break up with him?
Yeah, I was actively grieving.
Pulled one of those things?
Well, it had nothing to do with him, though. I was genuinely interested, but I was actively grieving my ex, and I thought it was really unfair to be with him while I felt that way.
And he was cool with it?
And I told him that, and so the 5 days of us being apart, I was like, oh no, I made a big mistake. Like, yes, I am still a little hurting over this, but I really do want to be with this person, so I'm going to try my best to make that happen because I don't want to lose him, you know? So that's why we got back together, and that's why I drove past his house.
That's kind of weird.
Missed him.
Yeah.
Very weird. Sorry.
Didn't you say earlier in this episode that, like, if you break up once, that was...
That's what I'm saying. That was a special circumstance.
Oh.
That was...
Asterisks.
Because there was nothing failing. There was nothing, like, we both genuinely were interested in each other. I had some mental things to flush out.
As everybody does. I also, listen, this is the same reason why, like, I am so hard... You know what's... Oh, my gosh. We should talk about internet dating one of these days, because Daniel torpedoed a girl that I was, like, talking to. He completely did. He did it as a joke, but...
Torpedoed?
She took it the wrong way, and she was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And I was like, wait, what did I do?
What does that mean? He tried to hook up with her?
No.
I don't know what that means.
She had asked, we'll talk about it. She had asked a question. He gave a dumb response in like, joking around.
Oh, with her thinking that it's you?
No. With, hey, I want to ask, because she was trying to find, we had a really good first date.
Okay.
But she was trying to find out more about me. And she's like, hey, let me talk to one of your friends. So I go, okay, talk to him. And she had asked a question. He gave a dumb answer back, like as a joke. And I was like, listen, it's a joke. And she was like, nah. And I was like, all right, whatever.
Wow.
Then I was just like, I don't want to do with you anymore if this is the way you are. And that we had only been on one date. No, thank you.
Wow.
I'm not signing up for that crazy train.
Yeah. I don't blame you there.
She's crazy. I'm not going to say her name because I don't really even remember it. But
I want to know what Daniel said. What did he say to make her so turned off?
We'll get to that subject when we talk about internet dating.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of different weird scenarios out there like that. But just as we do on this show, we're giving you guys advice. We like hearing your advice. So what we did is we took our hashtag team to the streets to NerdBotCon, and this is some of the responses that people gave back with Rejection and their advice to Rejection. Hit the clip! I spit all over my computer.
This is Jen Pink from Morphin Network, and my tip for dealing with rejection is block them in all social media, so you never have to deal with them ever again. Guys.
Practical.
That was Jen. She says block them on all social media. Do you agree or disagree?
I'm gonna have to agree.
My ex-girlfriend blocked me on. So here's an interesting
Because
thing
here's
too.
why we will. Okay, I'm not gonna. I will stalk.
Yeah,
That's
no
what
shit, I can
happens.
tell. If
When
you're
you-
willing to drive to somebody's place, I'm 90% sure you're willing to check up on their.
Listen,
internet
what I
system.
love hard. Okay.
I can see that.
You're mine.
You like turn into Elmira from the Tiny Kids for a second.
I'm just kidding.
So my ex-girlfriend actually, when we broke up the first time, she unfriended me from Facebook and then blocked me. And to this day, I think I'm still blocked.
That's how you know it's real.
But
by the way.
then she follows me on Instagram now, but she is one of those things where it's like a private page.
Yeah. So you don't know if she blocked you or if it's just private?
No. It's just private
Oh.
because I requested it and I was like, she's not going to accept it, so I just canceled my request. So I just haven't even tried. But she follows me and she likes my stuff. But I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, right?
So she unfollowed you and now she follows you?
No. She's never unfollowed me.
On Facebook?
No, on Facebook we're not even connected. This is years ago, so she's never unblocked me from Facebook when I broke up with her the first time.
Gotcha. And then Instagram became a thing and she was like,
Instagram became a thing. She follows me. And she has a private profile, and I think I requested it. And I think a couple days had passed. I was like, well, she's not going to accept it. So then I requested it, so I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I know that she still likes my pictures.
Did you secretly just not want to look dumb asking to
No,
follow her
I
page?
could really care. I don't care,
Okay.
really. I'm not... If anybody follows me on Instagram, which some of you do, I don't really care. I'm not a big Instagrammer, per se. Mm-hmm. But, and I also know that she probably would be like, oh, I don't know. And then it's just, I don't even want to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not weirded out if an ex does follow me, but there was my last boyfriend my last ex, I had to completely, everything, email, Facebook, it was just, we just needed to cut it off. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes
Because
that's
otherwise
what's
there would have
best.
been like emails or like just questions, and I just, for the both of us, it was for the best. And so, both ways, I think it was important. So yeah, that's practical advice. I think that's not too shabby.
Step 1, take them off of all your social media and block them.
Because otherwise you will stalk, and there's way better ways to spend your time.
Otherwise she will stalk, and there are better ways to spend your time. Let's hit the next one.
Hey guys, so dealing with rejection, I personally find it just means that wasn't the right relationship for you or the right time. So don't take it too personally. I understand it hurts in the moment, but I guarantee you, just be true to yourself, be confident in you. And then, one day that person will come along in your life, but don't try to force someone who doesn't want to be that, at least at this point in your life. Potentially, maybe down the road, you guys will meet up again, but just give it to God, pray about it, and, maybe one day, that person will come into your life.
Brennan Mejia, my good buddy.
I like that advice.
Brennan's a great guy. Number
That was
one,
deep.
He's not only a deep dude. He's in a beautiful marriage. The guy is a committed dude. I love Brennan, and if he has good advice, that is some great.
That
advice.
was great advice. And that's the biggest thing. That's what I'm saying. You are enough, just the way you are. But don't take it personally. It's like a job. If you go out for a job and somebody else gets it, does that mean you're dumb, uneducated, and not worth it?
It just
No.
either means that somebody was better for the job, or it just wasn't
Wasn't
meant
a
to
good
be
fit.
for your at the right time.
Exactly.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Brennan, they call him Brendan. It's Brennan. Brennan's a guy that knows what he's talking about. He's a pretty committed dude to everything he does. If you ever seen him do a handstand, he does it for about 47 minutes.
He seems really genuine.
He's a really
I
genuine
don't think I've
dude.
met Brennan.
Oh, you'll meet him. We went to Comic-Con this past year, and we were at the sci-fi party, and some guy was dressed as Aladdin. I was like, hold on, I'll be right back. And I told the guy, I was like, hey, see that guy over there? He's playing the real life Aladdin in the Disney movie.
no.
And he freaked, the Aladdin cosplayer.
Because he looks like he could.
He did, and the Aladdin cosplayer freaked out. And he was like, oh my God, I got to take a picture. And Brendan was like, what is this, dude? And then me and our other friends were just dying. He's like, you're an asshole.
You are just a con artist.
But I love hanging out with Brendan. He spoke from the truth. So we both agree with that advice.
100%. Yes. I cannot stress. I think that's the most important takeaway is to not take it personally, because then you don't spiral out and dwell on it and think about it and then beat yourself up. It's nobody's fault. Just don't take it personally.
Hit the next one.
Hey everybody, it's Bonnie Gordon, the other bard of the Library Bards. I guess we're talking about rejection, and let me tell you, boy do I know about rejection. Dating is hard. Not only just dating, but dating in LA is extremely difficult, especially being a lady on the curvier side and whatnot. But just so you know, if ever you're able, oh hello.
How are you guys doing?
Good. Okay. Action, it is hard, but just know that if you are rejected or if someone that you have feelings for don't reciprocates the feelings, it's not always about you. It could be they're unsure what they're looking for. They don't know what they're connecting with. I know I'm just rambling now and just saying like 20 different things at once. I'm a little overwhelmed with all the crazy fun colors and music going on. But just know that if you're able to find someone, great, and if not, learn to love yourself too first before you can love someone else. That's the biggest lesson that I've learned from just dating and life in general. You have to love yourself and find your own happiness before you can include that with others. So don't look for someone else to make that happiness for you. And that's horrible relationship advice with Bonnie. I should have a dating show.
Bonnie, you should have a dating show. Maybe you'll be a guest one of these days. Bonnie's from the Library Bards. And also, we got a cameo in there from WWE legend Rikishi. So there you go. Actually, so she's kind of talking about exactly what you've been preaching about this episode.
Great advice.
About having self-worth, and maybe that's the best form of rejection. Now, let's talk about on the flip side of that real quick, because realizing things is the easy part after the fact. The hard part, though, is dealing with it. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not
when you're
like
in the thick of it.
When you're in the thick of it, like, people have their vices to deal with things. Early on in my life, as you know, I like having a drink or 7. So I drink, but I don't drink to forget. I drink to remember. I think Wolverine said that in a movie sometime. But I do like the driving thing that I do because it is such a,
that's
like,
a great piece of advice.
It's like meditating for me.
Well, it's meditative. It's like painting or drawing or being on the computer and like writing. It's the same thing. You're in your own zone. It is a meditative state, 100%.
Yeah.
I
Try
like
it sometimes, people.
Oh, I really like that advice, Bonnie. That is really good. Because there's no reason that if you get rejected by 100 people, that still does not mean that you are not worth it and that you're not going to find somebody. It just means those 100 people weren't worth it or weren't your person.
By the way, I'm just going to give a shout out to some of my favorite people in the chat right now.
Do it.
Blackwing.
Hi, Jonathan.
Stephanie Storm. She knows I love her.
That's Stephanie.
Ryan Wizard. It used to be Wizard. It's Ryan Thomas. Ryan Wizard Thomas. You guys are the best. Thanks for joining us. We have more. Let's hit another one.
Hey everybody out there, it's your permanently single library bard. It's me, Xander. I was told to give some dating advice and some relationship advice, and I'm the worst person to offer anything. But on the topic of rejection, I've got a lot of experience. It's strange because in like sort of the gay community, I've had to come out as a nerd when I go out on dates. And so it's so funny to see that reversal of going on a date and then they're like, what are you into? And it's like, oh, well, let's test the waters with something that's more public, because D&D is big now. Do you know D&D? Cool, we're good. So it's always just testing the person and finding out how far you want to go into the depths of your nerdiness. And if you can find someone else that connects on your level, take it. Go with them. Do it.
I love Xander.
That's good advice.
Xander's been a guest on our show. He was one of our hosts for E3 with Kelly. Xander is great. You can follow him at Geek and Sundry. He's on Geek and Sundry. That's a great, interesting thing.
I never considered same-sex couples and the differences of dating. I never even...
It's really not crossed my mind either.
You think it's universal, but it's not. Interesting.
No, it is quite interesting, but he does have a very interesting take on getting to know somebody. It's like, how do you, like, when are you going to start diving into some of the weirder things that you might be into?
I don't think it's weird though, because if it's part of your lifestyle, I mean, you need to tell them on the first date. You know what I mean?
Is Stephanie Storm still here? And I hope she's stuck around because I want her to call in. I miss Stephanie. But so you were saying, I mean, he has some good advice, even though he thinks he's the worst.
Also, when you're in the thick of it, I think this is the point. Sometimes my brain just bugs out. When you're in the thick of it, some of the other things that I like to do is like surround yourself with good people, talk about it. talking about it, never underestimate the power of talking about things. I'm not saying you have to go to therapy. I'm just saying call a friend or talk to a family member or somebody that you trust, because getting it out of your system really does help, or writing it down or doing something that brings you joy. So like when I get in a fight with somebody or if I'm really upset about something, I like to go to the movies by myself.
Really?
It's just something I do. I get to just like get excited, get popcorn, watch something that I love. It's a whole experience for me, and it really does bring me joy. So doing little things like that are healthy vices, I think it's wise.
Here's one word of advice. If you ever meet Rose Sahibi, one of our cast members here, and you're going through kind of like a breakup or something, never hang out with him because you will not sleep for 3 days. And
Who, Ro?
it's gonna be a wild
Oh,
time.
he'll get you out of your out of your fun.
And believe me, you'll forget all about it, but then you won't remember half of the stuff you did those 3 days that you were awake with Ro, because it's gonna get crazy. So that's a part of my advice.
Good to know.
We got another one. Stephanie Storm, stay on.
What's up, guys? This is Jack Guzman, Danny Delgado, the Black Bison on Power Rangers Wild Force. Here to tell you guys on what you do when you get rejected by a woman. Obviously, you could never give up. So if that's the one that you really want, then you go after her and you keep trying. Now, if she seriously means no, then no means no. Just walk away. What's up, guys?
No means no. You know what though? I gotta be honest. I was driving here and I thought
That's
the
the best
same.
advice ever.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, it's such a fine line for people to like be persistent and what's just being stalkery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, driving by somebody's house is definitely stalkery. Number one. I mean, that's a definition, though.
100%.
That's what people get restraining orders for because of that. However,
Not my proudest moment.
I will say I'm gonna actually have to disagree with Jack on this one.
Really?
Yeah, I think that
I don't know.
okay. If you hear a no once, you're better than that. Make them want you next time. I think that's my own personal opinion. If they don't want you, then make them earn you at that point. I don't feel like you should have to dwell on somebody at that point that might not see something that you already have.
Yes. I would say in most cases, that's a yes. In most cases.
Yeah.
Some cases are a little special.
Jack, but the wisest words I probably ever heard on this show. If she's really not into it, then no
Just
means
no.
no. That's a straight fact.
But I'm seeing a
Straight
theme.
fact with Jack Guzman.
But I'm seeing a theme. It's basically like, don't take it personally. Keep going. Don't give up. Like, don't let that ruin dating for you. Because as humans, that's just what we want, right? That's all we want is connection. That's why rejection hurts so bad. Because we feel disconnected and we feel like we did something wrong. Or
I
that
agree.
You know what I mean? So I feel like I understand why we want to be loved and be in love. And it'll happen. Just be patient. Everybody has their time. It's coming.
It's coming. Next one, just like this next one is.
Hey guys, Ryan from Morphin Network, aka Dagger Boy. You guys know me. A tip for rejection is if you get rejected by somebody, just move on. Like, there's other people out there that are willing to love you and understand you. So yeah, like don't be intimidated. Don't feel down. There's other people out there. You have to find the right person or the right guy. Hey guys.
Yes, just move on. I think that's my universal kind of message is that if somebody's not into you, then you know what? Their loss. You're going to find somebody that is, and that's going to be better off for you, and you're going to be happier for it. I honestly do think, though, that this is going to be the strangest thing I'm probably ever going to say. Not really. I've said some pretty weird things. But I think that when you're pursuing, sometimes I'm more about the chase than I am about the destination.
Yeah.
So I'm more about like, man, that was such a fun chase, but now that I'm here, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%.
And I think that's
I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then how do you know which one's going to be worth it once you get them?
You don't.
Because that is a little unfair for the person that you're trying to rope in.
You just gotta play jazz and you just gotta figure it out. I think that like that's what you gotta do. Honestly, I'm gonna say this, people. Relationship advice with Joe. I think that whoever you are, whatever you do, you don't have to change who you are for anybody. But what I do think is that if you want to be in a successful relationship, I think it really consists of two things. One is compromise, and two is time management. Because if you lack both of those skills, you can assume that your relationship is going to fail. Mainly because it's just like having the mechanics to play a guitar or a piano. If you don't know how to do that stuff correctly, it's just not going to work out the way you think it is. But those are just simple things, and they're all correctable things as well. And sometimes you just might not be ready for a relationship, and that's fine too, because at the end of the day, nobody cares about you more than you, and you should really take value into that. And she said, had a great point, is that when you surround yourself with the people that make you better, you by proximity are going to be better. And once you're a better person and you can kind of self-reflect, I think that's when that's when you shine the most. Because Jessica said this last week, and I think it's so true. People like confidence, they don't like cocky. Mm-hmm. And I think once you're confident and your friends can give you confidence, which is exactly what we're trying to instill here. It's like, because we've said this last week. We said, we're not here to help you pick up on people. We're not here to help you kind of like, we're not going to give you advice. It's like, oh, hey, this is what you should do. You should do this. You should do that. And that's not us. What we're here to do is tell you that you're worth every single thing that you are, and you should really just have confidence in yourself. And you know what? The fact is, we're all going to find confidence in ourselves throughout the course of this show, her and I both, because you're engaged now. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're going to face a lot of adversity going through an engagement and a marriage. That you're going to have to kind of figure out. And I think that as time passes, you're going to grow to have more confidence in any situation that you're put in. And I think that's all we're trying to instill with you guys.
Absolutely. And confidence is just practice. You just practice and start to believe it. And then if you practice something and believe something long enough, it'll start to stick, and then it'll just become part of who you are. But part of moving on, too, I think, like, doing things, like, when you would get rejected, Joe, would you ever...
I did so much cocaine. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Would you ever... Well, sort of what I'm getting at. When you're kind of stuck in your head and you're done driving, but you still have those feelings, would you ever just go out with your guy friends, kind of put on your favorite shirt, put some cologne on, and then just kind of look at other people and be like, wow, there is really a lot more fish in the sea. Let's just have fun tonight. Or no, were you more...
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think, well, earlier in those days, I was more inclined to go out with my friends first and do my self-reflection driving later. So I would do it backwards, mainly because I was like, all right, let's go have fun with the guys.
Blow off some steam.
And then let me really think about the decisions I've been making or decisions I'm going to make.
Gotcha.
That's the way I would kind of handle it. With that being said, though, I think that, man, I'll be honest with you. There's never been... listen, I like to say that I've been doing okay in life. And I think that had it not been for me being as selfish as I am sometimes, it would have all turned out differently. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to be selfish. But at the same time, if something comes along that's just right, you can't predict that. And you can't map that out on a strategy. It just, sometimes things happen and sometimes things don't.
Yeah, and it'll come when you, like they say, it'll come when you least expect it. For me, that was true. Oh, Joe's words of That's so awesome.
You know what? We're going to take live calls. Let's do it. Let's do it for the last few minutes, if possible. If you guys want to call in, I believe that Josh might have been the one putting in the... Dan Nagami was the one putting in that thing in Slack.
Cool.
Or not in Slack. What is this called? The chat.
YouTube?
The YouTube. So if you hit that thing, call in. I want Stephanie Storm to call in because I haven't talked to her in a long time. And Stephanie Storm was wild. Can I share some Stephanie Storm stories? Probably not.
If she's cool with it.
I'm just kidding, Steph. But yeah, if you guys want to call in, now's a chance. Can you re-put that thing in there? It's called Rendezvous. We're not using Slack because apparently Rendezvous works better and it kind of fits the theme of the show.
Are they sponsoring us? That would be cool.
I don't know if they're sponsoring us. They should be. There, hit that link, and then we can hear your lovely voice, and we can. It's not a call, Steph. All you got to do is hit the link, and then do whatever it prompts you to do.
I really want to hear your stories. I really do.
My stories? You don't want to hear those.
No, their stories.
Yeah, I want to hear
or
those.
Questions.
Or comments.
Or comments.
Or both.
Or both.
Questions, comments, and theories. Sometimes I think Skype worked better. People like the Skype more than this rendezvous thing. Somebody call in. If not, we're just going to talk and just wrap this up in a second. So that's rejection.
Yes, that is rejection. So what are the big 3 takeaways from this episode? I would say don't take it personally. Try to move on and know that you're enough.
Yeah.
Can you say that's basically the big 3?
Have self-value.
Yeah. Because don't give other people the power. Do not put Do not put that power in other people's hands.
Hey,
you are
let me
perfectly
ask you
fine.
something. So if you're on the fence about this happened with a friend of mine, if you're on the fence about telling somebody how they feel, would you ask one of your friends?
What's the scenario?
No, I'm not gonna. I was totally gonna burn this person out right there in a second, but I was not. I'm probably not gonna do that.
Meaning, like, you want to ask your friend to ask her how she's feeling about you?
No. So I had a friend that asked me, hey, like, what would you do? Blah blah blah. Well, yeah, I can just Skype. It makes them download like 12 things to use this app. No, Stephanie Storm, learn how to.
It's on the phone.
It's on the phone.
If you're on your laptop, it's easier.
Oh, laptop, it's easier. Good to know.
Laptop, it's easier. If somebody wants to call in, that'd be great. Freaking do it. Daniel, it's not working, is what they're saying.
Oh, sorry, guys.
So back to what I was saying. If a friend was like just giving you the rundown of like what they were looking for in a relationship,
Okay.
and blah blah blah, and not what they're looking for, but I think somebody might feel this way.
Like, let's say they're falling for somebody and they're talking to you about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you the kind of person that would be that person to ask for advice like that?
I think I would ask if my good girlfriends or my sister or somebody that I trust have met the person that I like, I would want to know their opinion. But typically, no matter what the advice is, I'm going to end up doing what Jessica wants to do anyway. That's what I found out about myself. So, yeah, I would care more about what their thoughts are on that person. Not because they should dictate my relationship, but because they know me the best.
Oh, look, we got a call in. Let's see who it is. I think his name starts with Cookie and ends with Face. Jezzer Reyes, you on the line with us?
Cookie Face.
Jezzer, what's up, buddy?
Jezzer.
What's going on? I love the show.
Thanks, man. Let's talk rejection, my friend. You haven't been rejected a lot because I saw you pick up 2 girls in one night standing 10 feet away from each other.
Stop.
It's a numbers game, I think, for sure. Probably
100 rejections and maybe like 10 yeses. So yeah, it's a numbers game. After a while, you get numb to it.
And also, when you're drinking, you get numb to a lot of things. So
I do.
That definitely helps that.
I love your dance moves, Jezzer. Never
thank
stop
you,
doing
thank you.
those.
Well, yeah, he should come out with a new shirt. Jezzer's dancing never stops. Instead of cosplay never stops. Talk to me. Chat me up about one of your rejection stories and how you dealt with it.
One of my rejection stories. There's this one time where I think it's the same situation as you, where I hung out with this girl like multiple times, and we'd do things that a couple would do. And then when I got to the point where I kind of wanted to define the relationship, she was just like, I'm not really feeling it. I don't really see you that way. I was like, really? But
Dude,
that's
what happened to me.
So yeah, you just gotta either, sometimes you don't pick up on certain signals, but yeah, you just gotta keep moving.
I agree.
Keep moving on.
Keep moving
That's
on.
good advice.
That is some good advice. That's a good story, Jezzer. We have another call? If not, I'm gonna stick with Jezzer.
How do you
I can
end it?
relate, by the way, Jezzer. I know.
Yeah.
So Jezzer, now what advice do you have to give everyone out there?
Just keep trying. I know a lot of people, like, when they get rejected so much that they want to give up. You just gotta wait and find the right person. You just gotta keep trying. I'm still doing that, so.
Keep trying. Hey,
Yeah.
you were just in an
Find her.
awkward situation with your ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
I was,
wow.
yeah, just a few weeks ago.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird.
It's more of like a no. Not
Aw, putting him on the spot.
really. Since you asked and
Rude.
we're live, let's talk about
Right.
it.
Because we used to work together, and then she came back, and it was just awkward because she introduced me to her new boyfriend, and then she invited me out to lunch, and I was like, I don't want to do that, and it's just super awkward. I don't know. Yeah.
That's
So she's trying to keep it kosher, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't
it's
I don't
just
think I'd go
weird.
out to lunch with
No, definitely.
my
That's
ex
just a
and
weird
third
situation.
wheel. Actually, I would.
I would.
Actually,
Yeah.
I totally would.
it depends on the situation.
Jezzer, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
You
Jezzer.
got anybody else? That was fun.
I like these call-ins.
I know, the video callings are the best. Stephanie
cool.
Storm, where you at, homie?
Just on a phone somewhere.
You got to hold your phone up to your
Well, no, she has to download
face
it.
or download the app.
It's a whole thing.
There's a thing they're trying to communicate here. Okay, so do you like Jezzer's advice while he tries to figure out these last calls, or?
Yeah, I do like his advice. And it is confusing. Oh, I have another piece of advice, though. When somebody does tell you up front, just so you know I'm not looking for a girlfriend, or just so you know I'm not looking for a boyfriend, I just want to have fun, never take that as challenge accepted. That's been my problem in the past, too. I'm like, oh, well, this will be different because I'll change you, or, I can fix you, or I can make you fall in love with me. And that's not how romance works. That's not how love works. So if somebody does give you that up front, I would say listen. Or if somebody shows you their true colors up front, listen to that because it'll spare you a lot of months of agony.
Any of you guys out there on a laptop, call in. If not, we're going to wrap it up. And next week, what's our subject?
We doing breakups next week? No, that's too soon. That's too soon. What should we do next
Fighting.
week?
How to
fighting.
Deal with, this is an Jessica expert episode.
Oh, I got
so many stories.
For you.
Where's your mom's call in?
I don't know, Ange. I'm going to call her out right now because I know she's going to watch this. Next week, you got to give me a video. I asked her. She's just... I'm sorry, guys. Eventually, she'll send in a video. We'll figure it out.
Hopefully next week when we can talk about fights.
Fights are... Oh.
You have a lot of good stories?
I do.
Give me a teaser.
Up until recently, I liked to break and throw things.
Jeez. You're like the Hulk.
I used to think that the louder I yell, the more they will understand what I'm saying.
Oh, how about the difference between love and lust? Maybe that should be
That's
the next
a
one.
great one, too.
That's from Layla, one of the youngest viewers that we have, probably.
That's a lot of, like, what I've learned butterflies are. It's lust.
Standards. That's
It's
another
not
good one, too.
anything other
You
than
think butterflies
lust.
are lust?
Yeah, 100%.
No, I don't know. I almost would semi-disagree with you.
I'm talking about that initial look when you're like, oh, my God, that person's so attractive. That's lust.
Yeah, no shit.
But as you get to know them, that's the butterflies. I get it. But, like, that initial, like, zing is... Your face is nice. You know what I mean?
Your face is nice. If you break up with me, I'm going to drive by your house. That's what I got from this episode. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, I thought we had another call. That's you.
me.
That is totally you. Just Photoshop your face in there.
Kristen Bell.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. We're going to be here every Tuesday. And Layla wants to know the difference between love and lust. And we're going to tell you next week.
I like
That'll
that.
be our subject. Layla, you said it. That is going to be our subject next week. And we might even have special guests that we have from #show as those advice things come out between love and lust. And we're going to talk about that and talk about some fun stories. Because I feel like this is going to very much get into the category of one night stand. However...
Probably.
That'll be all next week, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Please share out this video and support Jessica. I don't know why I said that.
And that #show.
Support us both and share out this video. Like, share, and subscribe to Quest for Player 2. If you like the audio version, there's also a podcast that goes on with Daniel and Sarah, so you can check that out as well. So we hope you like what we do here, and like we said, we're just going to keep it real, keep it 100 like a fever. But that's going to do it for us, guys. Jessica, where can everybody find you on social media?
They can find me mostly Instagram at Jess_Heidenreich. It's right below.
And you can find me at, you're going to say another thing? And Instagram? Oh, you said that.
And that's my Facebook. And Twitter's J_Bojangles, but I'm not on there much.
Like the chicken restaurant?
Like the mouse from Green Mile.
Oh, yeah, it's also a chicken restaurant.
I know.
Guys, thank you so much. I'm that #Joe. You can find me here a lot. And I'll be here on Thursday for the Infinity Watchtower. That's the show we do on Thursday.
Cool.
Be back with Jezzer and Johnny. And in about a week from tomorrow, you can find me in New York City.
Dang.
So we'll be at New York Comic Con, Jezzer and I. We're going to be doing a #show meetup there. We're trying to finalize when that's going to happen, but it might happen on Wednesday or Thursday. Hell, it might happen on Friday, Saturday, possibly even Sunday. So we're not sure when it's going to happen, but we are going to be in New York hanging out. So come join us, and we'll have a drink or a food. We'll have some food.
I want to go to New York.
Maybe hot dogs. Come to New York with us.
Cool.
I
won't be there.
Falafels.
Falafels.
What? Your kids don't eat falafels? Anyway, that's going to do it for us here on that #show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.